Now that we have learned about fibers and natural fibers, let's have a look at synthetic fibers. In this part of the chapter, we'll be learning about synthetic fibers, the different kinds, their uses, and their applications. Okay, so let's find out. Synthetic fibers are made by human beings. They are processed, they are made artificially by human beings. Okay, synthetic fibers, they do not exist in nature, all right, but some raw materials, they do exist, and by combining those raw materials, we humans, we are able to synthesize synthetic fibers. That is why this is also known as man-made or synthetic. Okay, a synthetic fiber is also a chain of small units joined together. So what happens is that when we get fiber, from fiber we get yarn, and from yarn we get fabric, all right? But when we synthesize it artificially, when we make it artificially, all right, so these are made up of some chemical compounds, some chemical entities, or some you can also say that chemical units. Okay, so there are very small units. They are joined together, and when these small units are joined in a large number, they are interlocked, they are interwoven, then we get this synthetic fiber. So these chemical units, these are very small in nature, all right, but when we combine these small units either in a linear fashion, that is like this, one by one, okay, or either we interlock it, all right, so basically we are combining it in various forms, all right. When we combine it, when there is more than, say, when there are 3 4 small chemical units attached to each other, then we can say that one polymer is formed. All right, now you may be wondering what this polymer is. So many such small chemical units, all right, many such small chemical units from which we are, those small chemical units from which, by which we are synthesizing synthetic fibers, when they combine to form one large unit, all right. So when these 3 4 small chemical units, when they come together, either in a linear fashion, or either say in an interlocked manner, all right, so when they're combining together, when they are consolidating together, so we are getting a unit of a larger unit, a larger chunk of smaller units. So this larger chunk is called polymer. Okay, we have this very interesting etymology for the word polymer. Poly means many and mer means unit. Okay, the prefix this poly, this means many, and mer, it means unit. Okay, so what is happening here is that, like I told you, that small units, these small chemical units, when they come together, 3 4 5 or maybe even more than that, then we get one polymer. So you can remember this, that poly means many and mer means unit. So when many of these small chemical units, which chemical units? These synthetic fiber units, this synthetic fibers which we are procuring artificially from the raw materials that are there in the environment, all right. So when these many small units, they combine together, we get one larger chunk, and this larger chunk is called polymer. Okay, examples of synthetic fiber, the very larger example of this polymer can be a frying pan. Okay, the material that is used in this non-sticking frying pan is actually obtained from synthetic fiber. Slipper also is not made up of natural fibers, it is actually made up of synthetic fibers. Polymer is a larger molecule or a macromolecule which essentially is a combination of many subunits. So like I told you, this poly, this means many, okay, and the word mer, it means unit. Okay, so polymer comes from two Greek words, poly meaning many and mer meaning unit or part. Okay, so when you combine these small units, these small parts, you get one larger chunk, you get one larger unit that you call as a polymer. So a polymer, this is the definition of polymer. A polymer can be defined as a larger molecule or a macromolecule. Macromolecule again means macro large, and molecule is the combination of smaller units. So a larger molecule or a macromolecule, which essentially is a combination of many subunits. Okay, so polymer is made up of many repeating units. All right. Because of their structure, polymers have unique properties that can be tailored for different uses. Some examples of polymers are polythene, DNA, protein, nylon 66, etc. So these are some kinds, very common examples of polymers, and about some of these you'll be learning in this chapter, about many of these you'll be learning later on. But for your simplification, let me repeat this again. Polymer is the combination, is the larger chunk of smaller subunits. These units are chemical in nature since we are obtaining these fibers synthetically, right? We are processing it artificially. This does not exist in nature. So these are these chemical small subunits, and we get that larger unit, that is polymer. Examples are polythene, DNA, nylon 66, and protein. An interesting fact is that cotton, though it exists naturally, all right, cotton is a natural fiber. We just saw that cotton is a natural fiber. But an interesting fact about cotton, that cotton is also a polymer, and it is a polymer called cellulose. Now you may be wondering why we are using polymer here in case of a fiber that is obtained naturally. All right, so let's just focus on the definition of the polymer. Let's just not delve into that artificial chemical part that I have been stressing upon. When you only look at the definition, what do you observe? You observe that polymer is a larger molecule of smaller subunits. Okay, so basically what here I'm trying to say is that cotton is made up of cellulose, and cellulose is made up of larger number of glucose units. All right, what I'm trying to say is that there are smaller subunits. These smaller subunits are glucose. Okay, our small subunits are glucose, and the larger chunk that I'm talking about here is cellulose. All right, so these smaller subunits are forming a larger chunk. So by definition, cellulose is a polymer. All right, and the way cotton exists naturally, cotton also exists in this cellulose state, in this polymer state. So just focus on the definition of the word polymer, then you'll understand why, even though cotton is a natural fiber, we are calling it as a polymer, because cotton is made up of is a cellulose, is the kind of cellulose, and cellulose is made up of smaller subunits of glucose. Like you can see here in this picture over here, from plant cell we get cellulose. All right, so there are these microfibrils, there is macrofibrils. From the microfibrils we are getting this microfibrils. Okay, so like this is the larger chunk and this is the smaller chunks. All right, and then these are the chains of cellulose molecules. So we are getting these small chains of cellulose molecules in these microfibrils. All right, so ultimately cotton is a fiber, right? And you can see here in this diagram that cotton is made up of these chains of cellulose. So cotton is by definition, it is a polymer. Okay. Types of synthetic fibers. There are different types of synthetic fibers. These are polyester, acrylic, rayon, and nylon. One by one, we'll be learning about what is polyester, what is acrylic, what is rayon, what is nylon, what is so special about each of these synthetic fibers, and what are their uses. So let's start. Let's start with rayon. Rayon fiber is also known as artificial silk. So when silk was discovered in China, silk was first discovered in China, and it was later on observed that the method of procuring natural silk is very, very costly. It is very, very expensive. So we had to find another alternative method in order to procure silk. All right, so that we can get that amazement of the fabric of silk, but we can also cut down on the cost. Okay, for that rayon fiber was discovered, and it was obtained very easily by chemical treatment of wood pulp. So wood pulp is a natural source, is a natural raw source, right? And we are treating this natural raw source with the help of chemical, and the final product that we are getting is this rayon. So the fiber having properties, this fiber is having properties similar to that of milk, but it is procured artificially. Okay, so we also call rayon as the artificial silk. All right, we call rayon as the artificial silk. Although rayon is obtained from natural source, wood pulp, yet it is a man-made fiber. Why? Because we are ultimately, you know, altering the chemical properties of wood by treating it with some chemicals. So it is cheaper than silk, and can be woven like silk fibers, but it is actually a man-made fiber. It can also be dyed in a wide variety of colors. Dyed means it can also be colored. It can also be colored into a wide variety of different colors. So we can, if say a rayon is white, all right, it's procured white. You can color it say blue, you can color it say red, green, orange, yellow. Okay, so we can add different colors to this rayon material, and we can get our desired products in our desired colors. Okay, rayon is also mixed with cotton to make bed sheets or mixed with wool to make carpets. So since we have already obtained this product artificially, we can also, you know, mix and match. All right, we can also mix other kind of fibers with this fiber, and we can use the final product for our different uses. So so rayon is mixed with cotton, all right, and rayon is also mixed with wool. Okay, when you mix rayon with cotton, the product that you get, that is used for making bed sheets. Okay, and when you mix rayon with wool, the product that you get is used to make carpets. Okay, so we are mixing fibers with fibers. The resultant, we are also getting a fiber, but from that fiber a different fabric is obtained. Are you getting me? Different fabric is obtained, and that fabric is used for different purposes. A fun fact, silk fiber obtained from silkworm was discovered first in China and was kept as a closely guarded secret for a very long time because fabric obtained from silk fiber was very costly. So, like I told you in the previous slide, that the cost of silk was the cost of the procurement of the silk fabric was very costly, and to, you know, save ourselves from the economic side, we obtained this artificial rayon fiber. Okay, so the interesting fact, the fun fact here is that although silk was discovered in China, and although it was very costly, but the interesting fact is that it was kept as a closely guarded secret. So you can imagine that the time in which silk was discovered, that time, uh, uh, you know, corresponding to that time, the cost must have been very high. That is why it was kept as a closely guarded secret. Okay. Nylon. Nylon is another man-made fiber. In 1931, it was made without using any natural raw material. So nylon is made from coal, water, and air. All right. So it is used without any, it is produced without using any raw material. That is, it is produced without using any plant derivative or any animal derivative. We are preparing it from coal and water and air. Okay. So it was the first fully synthetic fiber. That means for the first time we did not use any live plant material, all right, or any animal material, all right. We just used that was there in the environment, like coal, like water, like air. Okay, so nylon was the first fully synthetic fiber. This you have to keep in your mind. And nylon fiber was strong, elastic, and light. It is lustrous and easy to wash, so it became very popular for making clothes. So, what kind of clothes people want to wear? People would obviously want to wear such kind of clothes that are very easy to wash, because easy to wash clothes are easy to manage. Lustrous means shiny, right? So the shininess of the cloth makes you appear more fancy, right? Makes you appear more attractive, all right? Also, the nylon fiber was very strong and was very elastic. And on top of that, it was very light. You're getting a light fabric, and you're getting a light fabric, you're getting a shiny fabric, okay, and you're getting an easy to wash fabric. So what more could you want for, right? So that is why nylon was very popular for making clothes. Things that are made from nylon and are very popular are socks, even brush. Why brush? Because I told you that nylon fibers, they are very strong, right? So the bristles of the brush, all right, those are also tiny filament-like structures. Okay, so those bristles, some of them, they are also made artificially from nylon. Even your seat belt, right? The material, the felt of the seat belt, are also made up of fibers, and we use nylon owing to its very strong nature of the fibers. And the nylon wires that are then again used for multiple purposes. So we get nylon socks, we get brush, we also the fibers of nylon are used to make seat belt, and it is also used to make wires, and these wires are ultimately used for other multiple purposes. An interesting fact about nylon is that the nylon thread is so very strong that it is actually used for making parachutes and ropes for rock climbing. An interesting fact is that during the World War, these nylon threads, these nylon fibers, before the World War, they were very famous for, making socks and stockings for women. All right, and when the World War came on, the demand of nylon was then shifted for the production of parachutes and ropes. All right, because these were important with respect of war. So after the war, when the war was over and when there was no use of making many parachutes and ropes, so women, they again demanded their their stockings and the socks that we used to get from nylon. But ultimately they did not get, unfortunately they did not get that kind of product that they used to get before the war. So this is an interesting fact. But the important thing to notice here is that the fabric of nylon is so strong that it is actually used for making parachutes and ropes for rock climbing. So it is strong, plus it is also light. Now we will look at an activity, we will look at an experiment by which we can determine the strength of fibers. For this experiment, like you can see here in this animation, you will take an iron stand with a clamp, and then you will take some threads, some fibers of cotton, okay, and similar ones of wool, polyester, silk and nylon. Okay, you will cut these, you will cut these, and then you have to make sure that the length and the thickness of these threads, they are equal. All right, and you can approximately take around 60 centimeter of length. Then you have to tie it with the clamp so that it hangs like the fashion just showed here in the animation. And then from the free end, the end that is hanging downwards, you can suspend a pan or even a polythene bag, and you can add some weights to it. If you don't have some weight, you can use some marbles or stones, some similar weighing, small spherical balls like structure. Okay, then you add the weight one by one till the thread breaks, and you have to perform this experiment for all these threads, for the cotton thread, for the wool thread, for the polyester, silk and nylon threads. And then you have to observe and see what you get as a result. The observation is that polyester fiber tolerate the maximum weight. The tensile strength, that means the strength till which when supplied different kinds of weight. All right, and you have to check whether and when that particular thread is breaking. So the tensile strength of polyester was found to be the highest. Then you have nylon, then you have cotton, then you have wool, then you have silk, and then you have wool. So the tensile strength of wool is the lowest. So wool had wool must have, the thread of wool must have snapped the very easily when weight was supplied, but polyester was the hardest to break, and then came nylon. So now you must be wondering why polyester is not used for making parachutes and why nylon is used. So it also depends on the other attributes of the particular fiber. All right, nylon is strong, plus it is also light. Okay, so even though its tensile strength is light, but when you acquire lots of fibers and when you use that for the particular purpose of, say, rock climbing or parachuting, nylon is found to be more convenient and more easy to use than polyester. But here you have to remember that the tensile strength of polyester is the strongest. Let's learn about polyester now. Polyester is a synthetic fiber, and this fiber does not get wrinkled easily. Okay, it remains crisp and is easy to wash. Okay, so it remains crisp means the folds or the wrinkles that you get in your clothes when you fold your hands a lot, or when you fold your knees a lot, or when you say run from here to there. All right, so some creases, some lines, or some folds, wrinkles, they appear on your clothes, all right? But the special thing about this fabric polyester is that it remains crisp and it is also easy to wash. So therefore, it is very suitable for making dress material, all right? And terylene is a popular polyester. Okay, it can be drawn into very fine fibers that can be woven like any other yarn. Okay, okay, so terylene is a special kind of polyester. It's a very important polyester, and it differs from the naturally no, it differs from the very common occurring polyester in the sense that it terylene can be easily drawn into very fine fibers. Fine fibers means very thin fibers, and owing to the very small diameter of these fibers, small width of these fibers, they can be easily processed into different kinds of cloths. Polyester is can be divided as poly plus ester. Poly means many, like I had told you, okay, earlier in the word polymer. So poly means many and ester is a chemical. So polyester is actually made up of the repeating units, the subunits of a chemical called ester. So in polyester, the repeating subunits is that chemical ester, and when you get these esters together in larger and larger chunks, you get the synthetic fiber polyester. What is PET? Now PET is also a special kind of polyester, like we had seen terylene. Okay, so PET is polyethylene terephthalate. Polyethylene terephthalate is a very familiar form of polyester. It is used for making bottles, utensils, films, wires, and other useful products. So you must have observed those special kind of bottles. They are very sturdy, they are very strong, and they do not get broken. They do not get deformed very easily. All right. There are also some special materials, as you can see here in this picture. These are very sturdy, right? So these kind of objects, they are also made of synthetic fibers. They are also made up of polyester, but it is made of a special kind of polyester, that is polyethylene terephthalate, which we also abbreviate as PET. Okay. Fabrics are also sold by the names like polycot, polywool, terrycot, etc. So we had seen that rayon is mixed with cotton to make bed sheets, and rayon is mixed with wool to make carpets, right? Similarly, over here, this is a mixture of polyester plus cotton and polyester and wool. So if you observe at that that product tag of some fabrics, you may see that the name of the fabric is either polycot or polywool or terrycot. Okay, so as the name suggests, these are made up of mixing two materials, two fibers. Polycot is a mixture of polyester and cotton, and polywool is a mixture of polyester and wool. Okay, so some coats or say some hat, they made up of a mixture of fibers. All right. Similarly, like we had observed in the case of similarly, like we had observed in the case of rayon. Okay. Now let's have a look at acrylic. Acrylic is a fiber that is made to resemble wool. Acrylic is a synthetic fiber made from polyacrylonitrile named polymer. So there is a polymer that is named polyacrylonitrile. This is the polymer that is used to make the fiber, to make the fabric acrylic. Acrylic fibers appear to resemble wool. So there are some sweaters, there are some woolen products that may claim that they are made from pure wool, but many products, they actually synthesized artificially, and this synthetic fiber is actually acrylic. Okay, many of these are actually not made from natural wool, they are made from acrylic fiber, because we cannot the demand of wool is very high, right? So the natural wool, the products that are made from 100% natural wool, they are difficult to find. So therefore we have synthetic fibers in vogue now, where we use synthetic fibers, a combination of synthetic fibers plus natural fibers, or in some cases purely synthetic fibers, and we use them to to cut down the demand of natural fibers, so that naturally occurring material, they can be preserved and conserved for future uses. Why should we not wear synthetic clothes while working in the kitchen? You must have, either heard from your mother or from some other elder member of your family that you should not wear synthetic clothes while you're in the kitchen. There is a scientific reason to that. The material of synthetic fibers, when it is very easy to catch fire, okay, because it melts on heating. And when it melts on heating, that fiber, that piece of cloth, it sticks onto your cloth. It sticks onto your skin, okay. If the cloth catches fire, it can be disastrous, and then it can stick onto your skin. So of course, when something is burning, you would want to get rid of that part, right, so that the rest of the product can be saved. But when a synthetic fiber is when it burns, it sticks to your skin. So you cannot cut it, or you cannot tear it away from you, because the burning part is actually sticking to your skin. So in a way, it is also burning your skin, right? After a while, it will start affecting your skin. It will start burning your skin. So the fabric melts and it sticks to the body, to the person wearing it. That makes it difficult to get rid of that fiber. So we should therefore not wear synthetic clothes while working in the kitchen, or also while working in the laboratory, because in the laboratory we have different chemicals, and some chemicals they may when accidentally, it can spill on you, on your skin, or even on your cloth, and that can be harmful for you. So such a material as synthetic fiber, that is, on heating, or it easily melts onto your skin, it gets it sticks to your skin, and naturally you would not want to wear such a product that you could not get rid of in such a disastrous case as burning. All right, so please take care of this. While you're in the kitchen, you also make sure that you do not wear synthetic cloths. What are petrochemicals? Now we know that synthetic fibers, artificial fibers, they are procured, they are artificially synthesized in factories, right? We do not get it in nature. How are they synthesized? They are prepared by a number of processes using raw materials of petroleum origin, and these raw materials of petroleum origin are called petrochemicals. So the chemicals, those materials that are used to synthesize, that are used to make these synthetic fibers, these petrochemicals are known as petrochemicals. Why we have the name petro plus chemicals? Chemical, because we are synthesizing it artificially. It is something that is not occurring in the natural state, and we are using the word petro over here to determine that it's actually originating from petroleum. So it is originating from some natural gas or some fossil fuel, something like that, some raw materials of petroleum origin. So we're getting these chemicals from petroleum. Characteristics of the synthetic fibers. For this, let's observe an experiment. So you take two cloth pieces of the same size, okay, roughly half a meter square each. One of these should be a natural fiber. You can either take cotton, you can take wool, you can take silk, but make sure that that is a perfectly natural fiber. And the other should be a synthetic fiber. Soak the pieces in different mugs, each containing the same amount of water. Then you have to take the pieces outside the containers and you have to put it under the sun. You have to spread them in the sun for a few minutes, and you observe that which material is getting dry easily. You will observe that synthetic fiber, it takes less time to dry. Okay, this is because synthetic fabrics, whatever that we have discussed till now, be it your polyester, be it your rayon, be it your nylon, okay, or even be it your acrylic. So synthetic fibers, they soak less water than natural fibers. Because they are soaking less water, the whatever water it has, that will be easy to dry, right? So that is why they have less absorbing. They have less water absorbing tendency, so they soak up less water, and that is why when you put it under the sun, the synthetic fabrics, they get dried easily as compared to the natural fabrics. The characteristics of synthetic fibers can be summed up that they possess unique characteristics, such as they dry up quickly, all right, then they are durable. Durable means they are strong, like we had seen in say in the case of nylon, right, that they are strong. Then they are less expensive, that is, they are cheap. This we have also seen in the case of acrylic, right? In the case of acrylic, in the case of rayon, that they are cheap, they are easily available, they're readily available. Why? Because they are synthesized artificially. So they are convenient to use, they are available, and they are cheap, okay, and they are easy to maintain. So we are looking for those kind of alternatives, that those kind of cloths, if you're wearing, if you're looking at it from the perspective of clothes, so those kind of cloths that are easy to maintain, that are easy to wash, that are that do not get wrinkled easily, they are crisp all the time. All right, so these synthetic fibers, they are dry, they dry up quickly, they do not absorb a lot of water, they are durable, that means they are strong, they are easy to maintain, they are readily available, and they are cheap. They can be easily procured. But owing to the advantages, there are also some disadvantages that we have just had a look at in the case of kitchen, right? That you should not wear synthetic cloths while you're in the kitchen, because it melts very easily and gets sticks onto your skin. So that means that you have to be very careful when you are around heat, any source of heat, right? So a source of heat very common to cloths is ironing, right? So when you're ironing synthetic clothes, you have to be very, very careful, because if you iron too much, or if you put too much pressure, then they may melt, all right? Because they melt very easily when they're applied with heat. So synthetic cloths also, they are not comfortable to wear during summer, because they do not absorb sweat. All right, we just in that experiment we just saw that synthetic fibers, they do not tend to absorb a lot of water. That is why they get dried easily in the sun, right? So during summer season, you sweat a lot, right? And naturally, when you're sweating a lot, you would want to be wearing clothes that are soaking up your sweat, so that your body is getting rid of that sweat. All right, so you prefer to wear cotton, or you prefer to wear khadi. But if you wear synthetic fibers during clothes, your owing to that nature of the synthetic fiber, it won't be able to absorb so much sweat of your body. So you will be left with your sweaty body. All right, the sweat won't be absorbed so much by the clothes that you're wearing. So synthetic clothes, they are not comfortable to wear during summers, as they do not absorb sweat. And synthetic fibers, they are also non biodegradable and hence cause pollution. Non biodegradable means they cannot be degraded easily into nature. That means they cannot be easily dissolved easily into nature. So what happens is that all kinds of products, they contain some consistency, they contain some attributes, some property by which they can easily be absorbed into nature. All right, but when you throw away synthetic fibers in nature, they cannot be degraded, they cannot be broken down into simplified pieces that can be absorbed into nature. So synthetic fibers, they are non biodegradable, hence they cause environmental pollution. So the disadvantages are that they melt away easily, they are not comfortable during summer season, and they are non biodegradable. So in this part of the chapter, we had a very, very deep look at what is synthetic fiber, what are the uses of synthetic fibers, what are the different types of synthetic fibers, what are the advantages, and what are the disadvantages.